Hi.
I'm Chris.
I'm Kara.
And we're the Midnight Babes. We're back.
We're back with
Back
another
again.
movie. Another movie.
Yeah, so we are... Okay, this one.
This one.
I got comments. I got... I'm
Questions.
Say, yeah, it was...
This is gonna be short because I may need to go down like a Reddit hole after we discuss this.
Yeah.
And please DM us explanations,
Please.
your comments, your questions.
Yeah.
I was
It's interesting.
I was
So
thrown.
this is No One Will Save You.
Yes.
It is out on Hulu.
I think it's a Hulu movie.
Exclusive, I believe.
Like a Hulu exclusive.
Yeah. Questions, comments, concerns. What the fuck?
Okay.
Straight up.
What the fuck is
the
right?
fuck?
We knew it was going to be alien invasion thriller.
That's from the trailer.
Yes, and Bryn, main character, finds solace within the walls of her home where she grew up until she's awakened one night by strange noises from unearthly intruders. Okay.
Cool.
Alien invasion meets home invasion. That's
Sure.
what that tells me.
Yes.
And I'm like, sold.
So going right off the bat with this, first there's like Bryn. So first of all, there's like no talking. FYI,
There's no dialogue until
At
like
all.
maybe the last 20 minutes of the movie.
and I think it's okay. Yeah, no, I remember what you're talking. Yes, there's
a
very,
little
very
bit of
little.
dialogue at the end.
Very little. So yeah, there's really no talking.
I didn't really notice it though.
Honestly.
Because I was on the edge of my seat or going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So much that like I didn't really realize there was no dialogue.
Yes.
Or not very much dialogue.
So it opens with Bryn. She's kind of
Yes.
doing her own thing in her house.
She lives alone.
Lives alone.
I was like, what year is she living in at the
Honestly.
beginning? Because the inside of her home was like 1930s.
Yeah.
And then she goes to town and I'm like, okay, well, clearly we're in the present.
Yeah. It was, you can tell it was a very small rural town.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so she's just kind of doing her own thing, going around. She tries saying hi to a neighbor. Neighbor says, fuck you. You know, just like completely ignored
Ignores
her.
She's like kind of like the outcast of the town almost.
Yeah, so you're like, what happened? What did you do?
And she keeps like talking to Maud and writing letters to Maud. Which would be like, we realize it's her like childhood best friend.
Yeah.
Based on like the photos in her room and stuff. So like, I think we do find out that there was some sort of accident.
Well, she's on her way because she's dropping off something at the post office. She had a package.
Yes.
She ends up going in. Something kind of happens. And she's like, okay, fine. So she goes back home. Like, she can just tell, like, everyone is looking at her.
And she's not like welcome.
Not at all.
So
she goes back home.
Yeah. She goes back home and then what the fuck happens?
And then it just starts happening. You hear the sounds, you hear the noises.
Well, before that, we see like this crescent shape
in
her
the
lawn.
lawn. And so she's out there with the hose, like
trying to like spray it away. And I'm like, I don't know. If I saw that, I would be calling NASA. I would be calling the feds. I'd be calling the FAA. I would be like, what's going on?
But I get
nobody likes her. She's like maybe
her
somebody.
Her phone rings. And she picks it up and hangs it up.
Yeah, does not want anything to do with anybody. No. So I understand where she's coming from. But yeah, that's like the only like thing they allude to of what's going to happen.
Like there's something wrong with their yard.
She comes back home and shit literally hits the fan. I'm like it's so much that I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I think we kind of like hear it first. It sounds kind of like a
skittering.
Demon.
It's like skittering. So she goes to her window to be like, my thought was she's looking for like a fucking raccoon or something, you know, like just, you know, trash pandas, whatever.
Trash pandas.
But doesn't see anything. And then still kind of hears something. And then
it like starts like laughing at her and
yes!
like making
the
noises,
clicking.
dude.
The clicking noises.
So many of them, not a fan.
Yep.
I'm not a fan. I'm just not. I was very like anxious the whole movie. Like I was on edge. Like when Bryn hid under the bed.
Oh
and
my
it's
God.
like walking in and you can like see its toes and all the sounds and like.
Not gonna lie.
No.
I thought it was funny that they kind of went a generic route with how these aliens looked.
They did.
I was like, oh, like
no, it gave me Signs vibes.
Yes.
There were a few things that I was like, oh, this feels like Signs. Like when she's like hiding behind like the refrigerator after it gets slammed.
Yeah.
And like you can like see its feet. I'm like, are you gonna slide the knife underneath so you can see the mirror image? Because that's what I'm getting right now from Signs.
I was hoping for like a different type of alien. But it was like your standard alien.
They kind of were like. I mean, these aliens, I felt like, were a little bit, like, different as far as, like, what they were doing.
Yes.
Like,
I was talking looks.
Yeah, like, I guess they looked fairly spot on.
It kind of took me out of it. I was like, oh, okay.
Like, yeah, you're like,
yeah.
All right. For me, it was like, okay, well, if they're here to do an abduction, why are we, like, torturing her?
Yeah.
Like, we're blowing windows out of the house. We're fucking moving furniture. I was like, since when? I mean, I guess aliens can do that. I don't know. I've not met one. I would assume they can. But I've not heard.
Giving War of the Worlds vibes.
It kind of was. I was like, what the fuck?
With, like, the lights.
Yes. It was creepy, but, like, I was like, did I miss something? Like, when are we able to, like, turn over entire tables without, like, touching them? And, like, brain powers.
I feel like that's how it was, but I love how... So, aliens come in, they're doing a home invasion, they're trying to find her, they know that she's there, so they're trying to find her, and then eventually she comes out pretty much just fighting with one.
Yeah.
And ends up, it's doing its telekinesis, and she ends up getting it in the head.
She stabs it in the head.
Dead alien.
Dead AF.
Yes.
Alien.
And so, but then it's funny because then she covers him up with a blanket, like, I'm just not going to deal with this.
That would be something I would do. I would be like, I can't deal with this, and I'd be like, Christina.
Yeah, I'd be like, all right, I got my shovel.
I'm going to need some help. Either like, I'm crazy or I just killed an alien.
But then she gets up the courage. Finally, she's like, after she's done freaking out. And then the next day, because this all happens at night. The next day she goes into town because she wants to go and talk to the police.
Sheriff.
And that's where you get the tension of what's kind of happening. Because she didn't actually go and talk to the police.
She didn't get to report it.
No, because there was a man who's working for the police. I don't know if
I think he was the sheriff and a woman.
And the woman
was like, fuck you, and like spit on her.
And then she just, Bryn just goes home and
she's like, I guess I'm not going to report this.
Yeah.
Which
so that there's something there with that family.
And it made me think like, well, is nobody else being abducted? Is it just her? Like,
but then you see her going home, and it does.
You see those crescent signs.
It does,
and
like,
you
the drone.
You can see them popping
and you're like,
over. And so then we're like, okay, it is full alien invasion. Which was fun because I was like, what's going on with like her specifically.
No, it's the whole town.
And like, I did have questions. Like, there were only some people being like abducted. There were some people that were like entranced.
Yeah.
But like in the human body.
Because she goes home and then they're all behind like this church
all,
or whatever, and they're just staring
up, and it was like uncomfortable to look at. But
then they turn and they look at her, and then you see something moving in their throat,
like they are being like controlled maybe by the aliens. It's like plasma, like looking stuff that like comes out of the alien's mouth and to the people.
Again, because she eventually, she's still fighting with these aliens. They're going through. There's not much that we can really say with it. It's one of those you're just gonna have to watch it. It's a typical home invasion with these aliens.
Yeah, I mean,
but they finally. During that time, and we're getting more into it, she's like, "Fuck these dudes." And she starts trying to fight back. She's boiling water.
Yes. She's setting traps to fight back. And
so more of the aliens are coming in, and that's when we get a good look at the different types of. That's when they bring in the different types of aliens.
Yeah, and that's when you're like, oh, okay.
Okay, that's when I was like, all right, cool.
But then it like almost prompted more questions.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there were, like she tries to like leave on the bus, right?
And these aliens are like, nah.
They're like in human
Many
bodies, or they're possessing human bodies.
They go after her.
They go after her. She goes back home. Like,
again.
I got really confused when she got abducted.
Yes.
Like, it's almost like, could they see her memories?
Before that, real quick, with this abductings, they have the light.
Yes.
And so these dudes are chasing her. And one of the other dudes, like alien possessed guy, gets caught and just like half in, half out of the light.
That was great.
I was laughing so hard.
It was great.
Because then, the spaceship or whatever just makes his noise like, that's not
what we wanted.
It was so sassy.
It was like, nope. Nope.
It was great.
Nope.
I was laughing.
Yeah.
But
they were
taking
weird.
her.
Yeah, so they've taken her.
And you get all these flashbacks.
Which was weird. So, like, we learn why those people hate her and what happened to her friend. She killed her friend.
By accident. Accident, but not accident. They're kids. They were getting into an argument. She picks up a rock and hit
her in the head. And then she fell and hit another rock. So, like, I don't know. I mean, she probably did some years for manslaughter. She was probably in juvie for a while.
Something.
That's why the whole town hates her. It's a small town. But it was weird because it was like the aliens were like showing her memories.
Yeah, that they were watching and they were learning.
Yes.
So it was...
I don't know. Because like, and then it went into like, she was abducted and then she was awake. And I was like, that whole thing was a dream. Like, it couldn't have been.
Yeah, because then she's deposited... Was she in her bed or was she in the front yard? I can't remember.
I think she was in, like, the front yard because she's, like... It's, like, her best life come true that she's living.
Right.
Essentially. And I was like, what the fuck? And she pulls that thing out of her mouth and comes back to reality. So it, like, wasn't a dream. It was the aliens, but what were they doing to her?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. And, like, what's the purpose of tapping into the memories? Like, why are we doing that? And like, why are we not just abducting them?
Yeah, and, like, they left her alone at that point. Like, they didn't try to put anything back down her throat.
Right.
But I'm like, okay, so did these aliens be like, oh, she's had enough issues. Like, we're just going to spare her. Like, she's already done enough.
Yeah.
But then it gets to where she's all happy-dory.
At the end, it shows that she's, like, happy and, like, dancing.
And, like, she's
with,
waving
like,
to people. And you're like, okay, so did this actually happen?
Like, you're questioning it. But then I'm wondering, did they control these false, happy realities?
Yes, like, did they take it from her, like, what it could be?
What she could have been.
Yeah, because... When she's waving at everyone, like, you still see
the things bubbling in her throat.
But then it ends with her dancing with them.
Yeah, but it does pan out. And you see multiple ships with their lights. So it made me wonder, did others survive this? We do see bikes, like, going into town. Yeah. But all the people have things in their throat. So it's like...
So why was she left?
Yeah, so I have a few questions. Was everybody left in their town like this, being controlled in a false reality that they're actually living in with the things in their throats? Or are they aboard the spaceship and this is just what their brain is seeing?
See, I don't know.
And I think that, like, those last, like, 20, 30 minutes of the movie threw so much at me that I was like, I don't know what's happening now.
Yeah. It was just... I finished the movie and was like,
I have more questions than I have answers. Like the first hour of the movie was great. It was spooky. There was aliens. She was hiding.
You're like, okay,
fighting.
Cool, yeah.
And then they just kind of, like...
Last 30 minutes, I'm like,
dropped the ball.
Yeah. I was like, where are we going with this?
Yeah, and so I guess I have, like, unanswered questions. And that's why I was like, well, maybe I need to, like, do a little Reddit hole. Like... I don't know.
I have no idea.
I mean, Bryn even had to, like, kill herself.
Yeah.
Like, she, like, had to, like, face herself in a dream and had to kill herself.
Yeah.
And, like, the aliens, like, recreated that for her. Like, the amount of times I said, the fuck is going on was outrageous. Like, I still... I could probably watch it again and still not understand it.
Yeah.
Of what's going on.
I understood Signs more than I understood this.
Yeah.
Signs I had questions, but I watched that when I was younger too.
And now as an adult, I'm like, it makes sense. This is one that I was like, I'm here for it until the end, and I was like,
and she's smiling and happy, and then she's looking at the camera like, bye.
Yeah, and then they give her like this light show, like with the like alien. It's not like a congratulations, you passed. Like, what did I pass? Because like, are you controlling me? Am I alive? Am I in a spaceship? Like, did you make the entire world fake? Like I don't know what happened. Yeah. So that's how I feel about it. I wouldn't waste your time.
No. I think, what did I give this?
We both gave it like a 3.
But I think it's because it did make us have questions.
And we like the thought-provoking films. But we don't like them to the point where we're like, I have no idea what's going on. Yeah. And that's it. This like really teetered the line.
Yeah, I'd say more of a 2 than a 3. But
it was a different. I liked it because it was a different type of alien movie. Like you get so sucked into like seeing like the same thing over and over and over. So it was fun that it was like home invasion meets alien invasion. Yeah. It did kind of give a Signs vibe at times, but it was different. So, like, that's what made me give it a 3. And I like the way we saw, like, the different types of aliens. That was cool.
I think that's why I gave it a 3, too. I'm like, at least they threw something in like that. Where
because
like,
when they first started, we were like, nah. And then we started seeing different ones. And I was like, oh, they're getting big. Yeah. They're getting creepy.
And then they're like a little tiny little big ass arms.
Symbols and stuff with their arms. Yeah. I was like, what's going on with that? Like, are we calling to a leader? Like, I've got
throwing out those gang signs.
I've got questions. Yeah. So when I was searching the cast, I found it interesting that like when I typed in "No one will save you,"
it says ending
explained as like the top like search. Yeah. And it says at the end, Bryn is finally captured and mind probed by the aliens. Her memories reveal that she and Maud had an argument. When Maud died, her parents were devastated. Yeah, we got all that. But what really happened? Yeah. A double of Bryn is beamed down from a spaceship. The double stabs Bryn in the stomach. Yep. And she slices the double's throat and kills it. The aliens are fascinated by her, seemingly because they haven't been able to control her as they've done with the rest of the town. So it is control.
Yep, that makes sense.
While probing, they witness her making peace with her 12-year-old self, and they appear to be oddly touched by her story. So that actually answers their reaction.
And that's why they let her live.
So they send Bryn back down to Earth where she's still bleeding, and she stares at the sky exhausted. Some believe that Bryn dies at this point and that the rest of the ending is her blissful fantasy. But if you look closely, when we see Bryn getting ready to go to town, she still has a cut on her head. It's almost healed. This indicates that she's indeed recovered and some time has passed. We see she's no longer alone and the townsfolk are helping her garden. Yep. As she waves to them, they clearly still have the parasites in their throats. They have a sheen of happiness while they are possessed by the aliens, at least on the surface, and wave back. Bryn now lives in an idyllic version of what the town was like, the one she had building at the start of the film, where everything is wonderful. No one treats her like a disgraced killer, and she can do as she pleases. Patrolling alien ships pass above overhead, now benign and appearing to have no interest in meddling with Bryn or the town's new status quo.
So that's what I was thinking. It's like they saw how she is. They can't control her.
They just threw so much so fast. It was really hard to absorb. Yeah. Like they could have kind of like, they could have done it a little better where we at least understood. Like I like to be able to watch a movie and be like, well, this is how I saw it. How did you see it?
But this one was so...
we were so like, I just don't even know. No. I mean, and I guess we had somewhat of an idea.
But you have to like go and look at it.
But I don't want to have to go down a rabbit hole to find an answer. I'm like, I'm going to have to read other articles and like then be like, okay. But I'm going to go with like the idyllic version.
Because that's what I'm saying, because everyone's smiling. She's dancing with her neighbor and the blue. Yeah.
Ugh. I will say I was not a fan of the sounds. I just... I will say, like, the way, like, that red light was, like, beaming her up and down at the end. Dude, I was giggling. Yeah. I was red light, green light, red light, green light. And it would, like, drop her, like, real close to the ground. Like, right. And I'd be like, oh, gotcha, girl. Like, they really toyed with her.
Yes.
Which I guess makes sense after reading that. Like, they wanted to see what she could handle.
Yeah. So, I agree.
It was a good alien movie. You watch it one time, maybe. It's on Hulu. If you're bored, you want something to watch it. Don't expect much from the ending. You're not going to get a lot of answers.
Not at all.
This is as much answers as we have.
Honestly.
This is what we in the interwebs have to say about it.
Yeah.
So
it was alright.
Yeah.
Not my favorite.
It was not my favorite.
Yeah.
Nah. But we watched it.
We watched it.
We did it. We made
watched
it
it
through.
so you don't have to. There you go.
Perfect. We wasted an hour and a half of our lives, so you don't have to.
Saying, what the fuck is happening?
What the fuck is going on? I'm texting her and I'm like, bro, I don't know what's happening.
Not at all.
I don't know what's going on.
And I'm like, I'm fucking right there with you.
She's like, I don't know either. Because if we don't watch them together, like physically together, we'll watch them at the same time.
Yeah.
But apart and text each other like little freaks and like mad, like, this is going on. I can't believe, like, what? Oh my God. So it makes for like good like movie times. For us, especially like being moms and like working full time. It's hard to like do that kind of stuff. Yeah. So when we're like, oh, this movie's out, like,
let's set up a time.
If we can't hang out, like, let's set up a time and watch it, and then we'll
like, kids are asleep, all right, let's go.
Yeah, it's like, you got the kid down?
Got the kid down.
They got the same bedtime.
I know.
Yeah, it works out perfectly.
Gosh.
All right, well, we'll be back with a book.
Another book.
So,
a spooky book.
Yeah, spooky book.
It's so good. I can't wait. So, we'll go ahead and...
the side eye over here. We'll go ahead and sign off.
Yep.
And you guys have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you'd like to see more from us, you can find us on Instagram at The Midnight Babes Podcast and on TikTok at The Midnight Babes. Stay spooky, friends.